Hi, I'm Alan Ross. I'm the managing editor of APC Media and APC Technologies. We are at the Seagray 2023 Grid of the Future Symposium. And these interviews are with the leaders at Seagray and the leaders of the industry. Hope you enjoy. My next guest is John McDonald, who is a friend and a guest in the brilliant interview. And we're going to have fun doing this, John. Thank you for joining me.
Look forward to seeing you get out.
So John is currently a vice president with GE Vernova, but I can announce, in fact, this is the first announcement, I think, that John will be retiring from GE Vernova. However, I can guarantee you there are a lot of organizations here that would like some consulting services from John McDonald. And unless your wife says you're not doing anything, you'll be doing things, Senan. But thank you for your service on all of that. Okay, you brought a lot to the industry. I want to start off with how you got started in the industry. Again, I know we've covered it before, but this is going to be published differently. So I want you to tell the world, how did you get involved with engineering in the first place? Why double E?
Well, yeah, I don't know how I was started because my dad is in advertising, but and I was 10 years old. What I wanted for birthdays and Christmas was electronic kits, and my mom
and your dad's looking at you going, "What's wrong with this kid?"
What did I do? You know, and booklets, Radio Shack booklets at the time.
Yeah.
We lived in Chicago, so you had the night kits, which were the kits you could put together, and the Radio Shack booklets on electricity. And they bought me those, the booklets. I read those, studied electricity, and then for birthdays and Christmas, I made a code oscillator. I made a shortwave radio. I made a set of walkie-talkies. I'm 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that, and I knew I wanted to be an electrical engineer early on.
That's pretty cool. Did you have popular mechanics? Did you get that?
I did.
Yeah. I got that, and I became a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
It really is. You know, you read these things and you get passionate about that.
Right.
But you've had a number of companies over a 50-year career. I'm going to focus at the end on GE Vernova, but talk a little bit about your career progression over the years. You got into it with who?
Yeah, I got into it with McDonald Corporation. I asked San Francisco. And the reason was we had a family friend at church in the suburb of Chicago who was a mechanical engineering partner at a consulting company in Chicago. And my mom, asked him at church, said, "Hey, John, is at Purdue in his first year in electrical engineering. Would you have an internship, a summer job for him after his first year?" It's always difficult to get an internship after your first year. And he said, "Well, let me talk to the electrical engineering partner," because he was the mechanical engineering partner. And they talked and said, "Sure." So I was really fortunate to do consulting engineering work. And there was another fellow with me from Purdue who was on a co-op program. And our productivity was probably 3 times what the full-time workers were. Because we just give us the work, we loved it, and we got paid overtime. So we worked in the evenings, and they literally said, when I went back to school for my second year, they said, "Anytime, John, even if you have a week off, we want you to come and work." And so I did that through Purdue, and it was consulting engineering work, very similar to what Bechtel did.
Okay. Yeah.
So when they interviewed me on campus, Bechtel, they said, "This is great. You could be productive from day one because you know exactly what's needed." And I had never been further west than the state of Illinois my whole life because I grew up born in Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
Lived in the Chicago suburb. So I accepted a job with Bechtel in downtown San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
In 1974. Didn't know anybody there. Put my stuff in my car and drove 4 days.
Single. You're single.
Single. 4 days cross country. Looked for an apartment and started working. So I like the adventure part of that also.
Yeah. And you did Bechtel until you did?
I did Bechtel for 5 years, and I went to Berkeley at night to get an MBA, which Bechtel paid for. And then I, through a manager I worked with at Bechtel, his neighbor had a 10-year-old SCADA company, supervisor controlled data acquisition. and they were neighbors in Palo Alto. And Brown Boveri just bought this guy's SCADA company.
Yeah.
To get into SCADA in the U.S. And Brown Boveri said, "You're a 10-year-old SCADA company. You have no power engineers in the company," because they did very basic SCADA.
Yeah.
We're a power engineering company globally. You need to get a power engineer. So the CEO and founder of the company was talking to his neighbor, who was a very close friend who I worked for, Becca. Said, "I got just the guy for you." So I moved to Santa Clara, and
So your boss got you your next job.
Yeah.
That's unusual, but
literally,
credit.
now, of the 6 companies I've worked for in 50 years,
Yeah.
5 of the job changes were through friends in my network.
Okay.
5 out of 6.
Yeah.
So I did that for 4 years. And then during that time, I met my wife. We got married, moved her to California. We had a baby girl in San Jose. That was when we said we want to raise our family more like the Midwest
Yeah.
than the West Coast. We moved to Pittsburgh. I worked for McGraw and Power Systems just before they got bought by Cooper,
Okay.
the phone Cooper Power. And then when Cooper bought McGraw, there were some job changes, and I looked around, and SCADA was one of my specialties.
Yeah.
So the SCADA company in Atlanta, very well known, Advanced Control System, the founder of that company created a position for me to work for him, and we moved to Atlanta. That was there 10 years, and then I always loved consulting. I love working with people. So the CEO of Kima Consulting said, "John, I want you to work for me. I don't need to see your resume. I just want you to say yes." So I did that for 12 years. And then a friend of mine at GE, I loved consulting. A friend of mine at GE called me one day and said, "John, there's an executive level position at GE just opened up, reporting to the CEO, be perfect for you." And I said, "Bernard, I'm very happy with what I'm doing 12 years at Kima." No, you need to. 2 days later, I'm interviewing at GE, and I get the job. And then I find out that my friends who recommended me, that when I got the job, I was his boss.
Oh, wow.
So I said, I'm very honored. And it was a compliment that
It is a compliment.
he
Yeah.
called me, recommended me, and then he worked for me.
Yeah. Give me one good highlight at GE Vernova, because you were a unicorn at GE. You had such an impact on so many areas, incredibly well respected. Everybody I've talked to at GE, when I mention you, it's just nothing but praise. But you're unique. You were the unicorn in terms of what was one of the highlights of your career there?
I think, and I'm not bragging or anything, but I think it's just successful sales and successful business. It is technology, but it's also people. It's people buy from people.
Right.
And companies buy from companies, but within those companies, it's people relationship.
Right.
And we had a new CEO in Paris, who I hadn't met yet, but we were on a conference call introducing ourselves. So I'm sitting at home in Atlanta on a conference call to Paris, the CEO. And so it was going around the horn, and it was my turn. And I said, I'd never met this person. And I said, hey, we've never met. But he interrupted me, and he said, "No, John, but you're very famous to me."
Yeah.
He said that.
Yeah.
And I said, "Why? I mean, we've never met." He says, "Because every customer I talk to
Yeah.
says, as far as I'm concerned, the face and G to the industry is John McDonald."
Exactly.
And then that was unsolicited.
Yeah.
But I said, "Wow, it shows that you've done some good things.
Yeah. And
You're well respected. People like you. They, and they like you so much that they'll support you and
Yeah.
talk about you." So that was something I'll never forget, because I was a little bit nervous about this new, and he said that out of the blue.
that's excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to get off your career, and I want to talk about the industry. You've served in a lot. You've seen a lot of things because you have been at the customer side. That's one of the things I respect and love most about you is you are customer-centric. You've always been customer-centric, people customer-centric. And any customer conference that you put on, you've either formed it, been there, done that, or really organized the thing. And the customers that come to those the one that you invited me to one time, you could tell that there was a certain amount of trust, love, and respect. And that means a lot. When somebody trusts, loves you, and respects you, that means they know you.
Right.
Okay. I want to talk now about the industry as a whole. We go from this, step down, large form generation, big pipe transmission lines everywhere, down to a very, I would say, a pretty much stable environment. And today we're here at the grid of the future, and here's what we're being asked to take your customers, a lot of the utilities, we're asking them to build a reliable, flexible, hardened, modern grid that can be resilient. And I mean, we're asking them to do a lot of different things. And oh, by the way, decarbonize, decentralize, digitalize. I mean, it is a lot of external factors being imposed upon them. It's change. Engineers love change. We run into the opportunity of a problem, whereas most people, we're like the Marines, right? You problem, go to it. We got to solve it. That's why you did the tinkering that you did, right?
Right.
Look at that industry and pick something along the way. I know you did a panel here this morning on distribution at the district. Talk a little bit about that. What were you talking about that was a solution to a problem?
Well, what you just described, so much of it falls on the distribution part of the grid.
Right.
Going to distributed generation, we find PV panels on homes.
Yeah.
You find arrays of PV panels coupled to the distribution system. And so couple reasons why I organized this panel this morning. One was that the distribution system was designed for electricity flowing in one direction.
Right.
From source to load. And for many years, when I talked to the supervisor at a utility control center, I'd say, hey, when are you going to get a SCADA system for distribution? You have one for generation and transmission, we call an EMS. When will you get a DMS? And he would laugh. I say, why do I need that? My distribution system is very simple. It's radial in architecture, and electricity flows in one direction. Why would I waste money, And which was true at the time. Also, a field person would go out to work on a distribution system, and if they opened the upstream device, they would always have a safe working situation. That's not true anymore either.
That's true.
Okay? And then in parallel with that, I've been leading the technical activities for the U.S. for over 14 years now with Seadray. For a long time, Seadray was initially founded as and known as a transmission organization. But in the last 6 or 7 years, there's a lot of work to rebrand Seadray as an end-to-end organization. Generation, transmission, distribution, and the end-use customer.
Yeah.
Okay? So I wanted to emphasize in my panel what we've been doing with distribution and the end-use customer. So I called it distribution innovation. And distribution automation is really three parts. It's not only feeder automation, but it's substation, feeder, and customer.
Okay, yeah.
So I had three panelists, specialists in substation, feeder, and end-use customer.
Okay.
Which was fabulous. And, what are the innovations to the challenges you mentioned? What are we doing? What are we doing with end-use customer? As an example, 10 years ago, no utility had a senior executive with the title Chief Customer Officer. CCO. Utilities today have senior executives, chief customer officers with large teams of people just focused on programs for customers.
You know why that was? We called them ratepayers. Right? They were customers.
Exactly.
Today, they're not only customers, they're prosumers because, but anyway.
They're generating sorry. I mean, no, really, it's been a big chain. So, and then on the distribution system, we have electricity flowing in two directions.
Yeah.
Our protection relays were set when we did the short circuit study to find the magnitude of fault current, where we modeled that part of the grid. We only looked at the source side contribution of fault.
Right.
Now, if we have PV panels connected downstream and the fault occurs when the sun's brightly shining, we could have a significant load contribution, so our relay settings aren't accurate. And then we have microgrids, and there's so many things happening that what we wanted to do was focus on what are the innovative things we're doing to meet those challenges you mentioned. at the substation level, the feeder level, and the end-use customer level.
Yeah. And that, so it was, I assume, well attended and lots of questions. The the thing is, if you did that same panel a year from now, there would be different answers and there would be different inputs, right?
Right.
And that's the last thing I want to end with. Seagray, you mentioned it already. Seagray is a unique organization. Not only is it rebranding itself, but different than an IEEE. We both love it. You're an IEEE fellow. You are now a member of the National Academy of Engineering, which is, congratulations, that's brilliant. You're a Seagray honorary member. But you're more than an honorary. You're an active member. You're involved. Seagray is for practitioners by practitioners. IEEE is a lot of academic and standards. We don't do standards here, because I'm a Seagray member, not an honorary one, but a member, and will be more active. But I just noticed the incredible amount of sharing of knowledge here, and I guess that comes through the working groups, right? What you had a bunch of submissions from this year for the Paris event next year, right? In fact, more than they're going to be able to take on.
I think I really think because of the quality of our submissions, I think they will want to accept. We normally have an acceptance rate of over 95%.
Oh, wow.
So in 2022, I submitted 80 synopses or abstracts, and 75 were accepted. So this time I submitted 117, which was incredible.
Yeah.
And it's based on the study committees. The 16 study committees are looking at the submittals in their study committee. Yeah. And then they'll just, based on the quality and the diversity, they'll decide what they accept.
That's a lot of work for all of those working groups and the committees, and then sending that out there. And it is, there's a lot of peer evaluation on you that makes it work. But talk about, I'm asking you about the value of Seagray. We're talking about the value of Seagray, but personally to you, Seagray.
I've been an active IEEE member 62 years, Seagray over 17 years, but it was when I was in 2006 when I was elected IEEE Power and Energy Society president. My wife and I went to Paris with Seagray because we have a member of understanding between IEEE, PES, and Seagray, and we were looking at what activities we be doing together the 2 years of my presidency. And that opened my eyes up to Seagray. I said, wow, the work that Seagray does, it's not standards, because I've been involved with standards with IEEE,
Right.
1987. But it's very practical stuff, like you said. And the utility folks say that if I'm in a substation with a problem, there's a Seagray brochure, that'll solve my problem. That's how practical the Seagray stuff is. So I really said, I mentor young people and say, really today a complete engineer would be IEEE and Seagray. Because with Seagray, I get more of a global, much more emphasis on the global aspect of technology. My network expands with a lot of global contacts.
Yeah.
But I have additional leadership opportunities with Seagray in addition to IEEE, so you can get more involved. But I think if you have Seagray knowledge and experience and IEEE knowledge and experience, you have everything that's important.
Right. And for younger engineers, that's a place to get involved, get to volunteer, to work, and to grow, and eventually you find out that you're busier than you've ever been after you retire, which is what you're going to be. Right. I said that was the last question. It's not, because I know another passion of yours happens to be one of mine. Yours maybe even more than mine is the next generation. That's both at IEEE, that was within GE, that's now with Seagray, the next generation network. Talk a little bit about, speak to that next generation and what our generation should have as a commitment to that generation, even after we retire.
Yeah. I would, people don't think it this way, but I say, mentoring is very important. And I've helped start mentoring programs with IEEE Powered Air Society. We just started all of the IEEE HKN, where Eta Kappa Nu is the Electrical Engineering Honor Society.
Yeah.
I've been a member of that 52 years. So we just started a mentoring program there. We have a mentoring program at GE, okay? And we just, we started one here with the U.S. National Committee of Seagray,
Yeah.
okay? So I say, to young people, I say, what you learn at the university is courses, professors, books. It's the science of engineering. But I said anybody can learn that. It's what books, professors, courses. But the value you bring to a company when you start working is not the science of engineering. It's the art of engineering.
Oh, yes.
Think of that, the art of engineering. Because how do you apply that science to the real world? How do you solve real world problems, right? And you can't learn that overnight, and you can't read a book. I said, you've got to spend as much time as you can with experienced people and ask them questions. And I said, but if you have a good mentor, spend as much time as you can with a mentor, you're going to accelerate your knowledge of the art of engineering, and you'll be more valuable to your company, more valuable to the industry, and more valuable to your company's customers. So, and when I explain it that way, young people say, it's a done deal. I've got to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got to do it. And so that's why I probably mentor now 25. I sometimes spend 4 or 4 hours each day, 1 hour per young person, mentoring young people from all over the world with all different needs and, but helping them achieve things they didn't think they could achieve, helping them with career decisions, helping them with their personal life if they want. And just, but it helps me too, because I'm almost 72 years old and I want to be young for a long time. And the more time I can spend with young people, I can learn what's important to them, how they think, because I learn so much from them. It's kind of like a reverse mentoring also.
Yeah.
I learn from them. It benefits me a lot. So it's time well spent. And I really say this, I've gotten enough awards and recognition. I don't need it anymore. My greatest satisfaction today is if I can help a young person achieve something they didn't think they could achieve, and I see how happy they are, how confident they are, and they look at me and say, John, I couldn't have done this without your help. That's the greatest feeling in the world. If I could have that feeling every day or every week, that's what's important to me now. Nothing for me personally. So that's why I really enjoy doing that. And it helps both of us. And I'll continue to do that for as long as I can.
So, John, I'm going to give you one more accolade. Okay, this is the ending of our thing, but you epitomize the art and the science of engineering. Thank you for that.
Oh, thanks, Al.
Good to see you. Good to see you.